Let's talk about what's really going on in Philly, because this past week was anything but quiet for the Eagles. Just when you thought the team was getting into rhythm, boom, more injury news, more roster shakeups, and yes, more whispers about A.J. Brown's involvement in the offense. If you're a diehard Birds fan, you know the drama never stops, and this week gave us plenty to talk about. So buckle in. It all started with another unexpected injury update. After pass rusher Nolan Smith was placed on injured reserve last week due to a triceps issue, we thought we had seen the last major injury setback for a while. But nope. Out of nowhere, long snapper Charlie Hewlett is now also heading to IR. And while that might seem minor to some fans, after all, long snappers rarely make headlines. This move could have real implications. If you've been paying attention to Eagles games lately, you know how crucial special teams have been. Head coach Nick Sirianni is all about complementary football. Offense, defense, and special teams working together. He's preached it over and over, and he's absolutely right. You can win or lose a game on special teams alone. Just ask anyone who watched Super Bowl 57, when the Eagles lost that particular battle against the Kansas City Chiefs. It stung then, and the ripple effects are still felt today. Let's be real, Eagles special teams used to be a bit of a liability. That's why their coordinator, Michael Clay, caught so much heat over the years. But credit where it's due, they've turned it around. The unit has gotten significantly better, but now with Hewlett sidelined, that consistency is at risk again. And it's not like this is Hewlett's first trip to IR. The guy's 35, had injury trouble last season, and even missed time during training camp and the preseason. That's part of the reason why the team previously brought in Christian Stone from Appalachian State. He's still a free agent, but this time, the Eagles decided to go with a more experienced option. Enter Cal Adamitis. If the name sounds familiar, that's because he spent the last few seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals after signing as an undrafted free agent in 2022. He played in nearly 50 games and was in the mix this summer before losing a roster battle to rookie Will Wagner. He now gets a shot with the Eagles, and the hope is that he'll keep the operation smooth, because a messed-up snap can derail a field goal or a punt in an instant. And with how well Braden Mann has been punting and Jake Elliott has been kicking this season, that margin for error is razor thin. Speaking of Jake Elliott, he's been lights out so far this year. 100% on field goals. Perfect from 50+. He's already hit 3 from long distance after going just 1 for 7 from that range last season. That's a massive turnaround, and some insiders believe that Hewlett's addition to the team played a role in stabilizing the operation. So now, with Hewlett hurt, the Eagles will need Adamitis to slide in and not miss a beat. And for anyone wondering if the team could bring back Rick Lovato, not happening. He's now with the Chargers, serving as their long snapper. And just as a side note, Lovato is one of only 4 players to win 2 Super Bowls with the Eagles alongside Brandon Graham, Jake Elliott, and Lane Johnson. It's a small, exclusive group, and Lovato's role in both of those championship runs shouldn't be overlooked. Now, with these latest roster moves, Hewlett and Obi Okoronkwo to IR, linebacker Lance Dixon released from the practice squad, and just 1 player signed, the Eagles actually have an open roster spot. That's worth keeping an eye on. And while some fans were hoping for a splash like adding Kenyon Green, that's off the table for now. He's headed to Baltimore, signing with the Ravens practice squad. They're dealing with a ton of injuries and are just trying to stay afloat. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, those same Chiefs that people said might finally fall off this year, have won 2 straight and look like a real threat in the AFC again. Buffalo might be their only true competition, and even that comes with question marks on defense. The fatigue with Kansas City is real, but don't count them out just yet. Now let's shift to the A.J. Brown situation. Because yes, it's still a thing. And it's not just fans talking. The coaching staff has had to answer plenty of questions this week. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo addressed it directly, and he's someone who's been around since Nick Sirianni's arrival in 2021. He knows A.J. well. The Eagles traded for Brown on draft night in 2022, and the two have worked together ever since. Patullo insisted that his relationship with Brown is strong, and that A.J. just wants to contribute more. That lines up with what Sirianni said earlier this week, too, that Brown is passionate, wants to help the team, and isn't causing problems. But here's the thing. When a player like A.J. Brown starts posting cryptic Bible verses and vague tweets, it's going to create headlines. That's just the reality of the modern NFL. Everyone's looking for deeper meaning, for tension, for storylines. Some local radio hosts have even gone as far as saying things are really bad behind the scenes, though they could be pure speculation. Regardless, it's clear something's off. And you do have to wonder, does A.J. Brown truly want out? Because that would be a major move. We're talking about a player who has been all-pro in every season with the Eagles, has gone over 1,000 receiving yards each year, and just won a Super Bowl. Why would you want to leave that? From a business standpoint, he's already been rewarded with 2 contract extensions. He's a centerpiece of the offense. But at the same time, if he feels underused, and the numbers lately back that up, then maybe there's some frustration bubbling. Patullo spoke about it honestly. He said the offense started the last game well. They had rhythm, they had pace, and they were executing. But things fell apart after that 65-yard field goal from Chase McLaughlin at the end of the first half. The momentum shifted, and the Eagles' offense just never regained that early rhythm. That's a real thing in football. One moment can flip a game's entire flow. And when that happens, sometimes the passing game stalls, and a player like A.J. Brown ends up on the outside looking in. But let's not hit the panic button just yet. Adjustments are coming. And if there's one thing this Eagles staff has proven under Sirianni, it's that they can adapt as the season unfolds. A.J. Brown will be a focal point again. He's too talented not to be. And you better believe they'll figure out ways to get him the ball more consistently. Now, defensively, there's also some intrigue. Vic Fangio spoke about the potential for Khalil Ringo to become a full-time starter after his performance last Sunday. Outside of a few missed tackles, Ringo played well. He was sticky in coverage, broke up a pass, and only gave up a single catch for 8 yards on 3 targets. That's solid. He's got the physicality, he's got the speed. He just needs to clean up the fundamentals, especially tackling. Fangio didn't rule out the possibility of Ringo starting. And frankly, with Adoree Jackson struggling and Shamari Connor banged up, it makes sense to develop the younger guy. Ringo may not be perfect, but the upside is real, and it's time to see what he can do with more snaps. And then there's the good news about Nakobe Dean. His practice window has officially opened, which is wild considering he tore his patellar tendon back in January. That is not an easy injury to bounce back from. Yet here he is, already eyeing a return to game action. But the situation with Dean is complicated. When Fangio was asked if this means Jahad Campbell could move to edge rusher so that Dean could play off-ball linebacker, his answer was pretty direct. Not right now. And honestly, that tracks. Because Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond have been one of the best linebacker duos in football this season. The stats back it up, the tape backs it up, and the eye test seals it. They've been phenomenal. And while Dean is a talented player with high upside, you're not pulling one of those 2 off the field right now. It just wouldn't make sense. Dean might get some rotational snaps. Maybe he fills in when Campbell slides into a pass rushing role. Maybe he gives Bond a breather here and there. But a full-time starting role? That's unlikely. Not because he isn't good, but because the guys ahead of him are simply playing better. And that's not a knock on Dean. It's just reality. He can still help this team, especially with depth and versatility. But looking long-term, it's fair to question whether he'll be re-signed after the season. The Eagles have young talent waiting in the wings like Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and the linebacker room looks deep for the first time in a while. Let's pick up right where we left off, because while the Eagles are dealing with injuries and depth chart decisions, there's a much bigger picture starting to unfold. This team, despite its talent, is at a crossroads early in the season. Expectations are sky high. The margin for error is razor thin, and every week feels like a test of depth, chemistry, and resilience. And when you take a step back, you start to see that these issues aren't just about individual players. They're about identity. What kind of team are the Eagles becoming? Look at the offense. We've talked about A.J. Brown, but it goes deeper than just one player's usage. The flow of this offense hasn't felt right for stretches. There are long lulls, inconsistent drives, and moments where they look completely out of sync. Some of that comes down to execution. Some of it comes down to play calling. And some of it, let's be honest, is about rhythm and leadership on the field. Jalen Hurts is a winner, no doubt. He's proven it. But he's also been visibly frustrated at times this year. And it's fair to wonder how much of that is tied to the offensive line rotating pieces, the wide receiver room being a bit unsettled, and the fact that the team hasn't been able to find a consistent identity through the air. Devaughn Smith has been reliable. Dallas Goedert has had flashes. DeAndre Swift has given them balance out of the backfield. But the explosive plays haven't been there consistently, and that's what A.J. Brown thrives on. That's why the storyline keeps coming back. He's not just looking for stats. He's looking to make a difference. And when that doesn't happen, he gets vocal. It's not about drama for drama's sake. It's about wanting to be part of the solution, not a bystander. And with the offense sputtering in key moments, his frustration makes a lot more sense. What makes this even more complicated is the defensive side of the ball is going through its own transition. Vic Fangio's system is built on discipline, coverage integrity, and winning situational football. And while the defense has shown flashes of greatness, it's still a work in progress. The rotation in the secondary has been heavy, partly because of injuries and partly because the team is still trying to figure out who fits where. You've got Khalil Ringo making strides, but also dealing with growing pains. James Bradbury's been inconsistent. The safety duo hasn't fully clicked yet. And then you've got a linebacker group playing out of their minds, masking a lot of those issues on the back end. But that can't last forever. If the front seven doesn't get consistent pressure, the back end will eventually be exposed. Fangio knows that, and so do teams around the league. It's a chess match every single week, and right now, Philadelphia is relying heavily on individual performances to carry them through stretches instead of cohesive, consistent execution from all three phases. Another area that's flying under the radar, but deserves more attention, is the kicking and punting game. We touched on it earlier, but Jake Elliott and Braden Mann are not just afterthoughts. They've been crucial this season. Mann's ability to flip field position has bailed the Eagles out of multiple tough spots. Elliott's consistency has been a game-changer, especially in matchups where the offense stalls out in the red zone. These two are performing at a Pro Bowl level, and it's not hyperbole to say that without them, the Eagles might already have another loss or two on record. That's how much pressure has been on the special teams unit, and that's why the injury to Hewlett matters more than people think. The chemistry between snapper, holder, and kicker is delicate. One bad snap at the wrong moment, and the whole thing falls apart. So while the front office scrambles to patch holes with roster signings and practice squad call-ups, the coaches are under pressure to find balance. How do you keep a talented but frustrated wide receiver happy? How do you develop young defenders without blowing coverages in real-time games? How do you protect your franchise quarterback when the offensive line is constantly adjusting and the run game isn't quite dominant enough to carry the load? Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. And what could be one of the most talked about moves of the offseason? Whispers have begun circulating across NFL circles about the Philadelphia Eagles' latest acquisition. Sources suggest that the team has officially announced the signing of wide receiver Devaughn Vele, a player whose physical prowess and explosive potential have caught the eyes of scouts and insiders alike. While the Eagles organization remains tight-lipped about the specifics, the excitement is palpable, and speculation about how Vele might fit into the Eagles' offensive scheme is already heating up. Vele, known for his jaw-dropping speed and remarkable leaping ability, has been described by those familiar with his game as a dynamic playmaker capable of turning even routine plays into highlight reels. Rumor has it that the Eagles coaching staff was particularly impressed by his agility and ability to create separation from defenders, traits that could add a new dimension to an already potent offense. Some analysts are already drawing comparisons to established stars, hinting that Vele's skill set could redefine the team's aerial attack. Despite the buzz, insiders caution that nothing is set in stone. There are murmurs that contract details are still being finalized, and that Vele's integration into the roster may hinge on how quickly he adapts to the Eagles' playbook. Nevertheless, The announcement has already sparked a frenzy among fans and fantasy football enthusiasts, with social media ablaze with speculation about where he might line up and which veteran receivers might feel the pressure of his presence. As the NFL world waits for official confirmation and preseason action to reveal the full impact of this signing, one thing seems certain. The chatter surrounding Devaughn Vele is only just beginning. Whether this turns into a transformative addition or just another intriguing story, the Eagles have certainly given their supporters something to talk about, and the rumor mill is unlikely to quiet down anytime soon. Keep your eyes on Philadelphia. If the early reports are accurate, Devaughn Vele might just be the next explosive name on everyone's lips. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.